Venus Concept announcing a global brand partnership with tennis champion and entrepreneur Venus Williams. Here to talk about that is Venus Williams herself. She's a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, 7-time Grand Slam champion, along with Dom Serafino, CEO of the Venus Concept. Dom and Venus, great to have you both. Venus, let me start with you because you are involved with a number of brands and companies, a very accomplished entrepreneur. What drew you to Venus Bliss?
Well, actually, without them even knowing it, I had used some of the Venus Concept products before, and some of I just love wellness, and everything that I'm involved with is wellness, self-care, beauty, of course, sport. So it's a perfect fit for me. I know people say the name, but we talked about it, and it's about the lifestyle too of feeling and looking your best, and that's what I want every day.
And I was going to say the name is a perfect fit for you guys. But Dom, when you take a look at a partnership with Venus, how do you envision Venus helping your brand grow?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think ultimately what we really focus on is sort of a fit, from a personality perspective, sort of from an ideals perspective. And, we're big on family with our company. And I know that the Williams family is very, very tight. And I think that's really important to us. The fact that Venus is a tremendous entrepreneur, female empowerment, we're really all about that. And we believe that cultural diversity is also really important. We sell in 65 countries around the world. And because Venus is known, universally, we just felt it was a really great fit for us beyond the name itself and how we could use that. But generally speaking, when we found out today that, she'd used the system, I was like, this is kind of serendipitous, and I think it's going to work out really great.
Sounds like a perfect match. Dom, when you're looking at making these types of agreements, reaching these types of brand partnerships, why are they so valuable in your view? Why are they worth the time, the effort, and the money that it costs?
Yeah, I think that for us, because we're sort of in the consumer business, people want to feel healthy. They want to look their best. They don't want to necessarily go through a surgical intervention with technologies. One of the things that we've prided on ourselves is making these treatments very comfortable. And so when choosing Venus, her whole fitness regimen and how she's an entrepreneur, I think that resonates with a really wide, population, and she's relatable. And I think for us, it was really important that, the demographic that we target is right in the sweet spot of where Venus is in her life at this point. And we just felt it was going to be a really great fit for so many different reasons, most of which is really providing consumers a sense of confidence that when they go to clinics that use our technologies, they're going to be, well treated, obviously, and get clinical results that are really well supported.
Venus, Dom mentioned your entrepreneurial success. So I want to dig a little bit more into that because you have your activewear brand 11, you have an interior design firm called V-Star, you have a plant-based protein company, Happy Viking. When you are starting these companies, when you're reaching these types of deals, what is it that you look for just in terms of the opportunity that they present?
It has to fit within your platform and fit in what you believe in, because if it doesn't, it's not authentic. And so this definitely fit into what I believe in. I had already tried the treatments, and you talked about it was 65 countries. I actually had some treatments in Australia because I had to travel to Australia. I had to continue my treatments from the Americas. So in any case, it has to fit, and it was a perfect fit because it was something that I already believed in and tried.
Venus, I want to switch gears here just a little bit and talk about something else that you're very passionate about, something that you've been very vocal about, and that's gender pay equality. I know you recently wrote a very moving letter about this, and you've been vocal on this issue now for quite some time. In tennis, women are now paid the equivalent to men in prize money, but that's not the case for all sports. I'm curious just to get your thoughts on this issue, how to better address this, and why you think that this issue continues to persist after all these years.
After all, most people do not know that women earn 81 cents to every dollar that men earn. People don't know that. So without education, without speaking about it, people will not know what the inequalities are. And I think we just saw last month with NCAA what was happening with the men and the women. And that's just not only in sports, it's across all industries where we're facing this. So for me, I can't stop until we are equal, and I hope that's as soon as possible in my lifetime, but I'll do everything that I can while I'm here to make it equal.
And Venus, in that letter that you recently wrote, you also brought up the importance of men being part of the solution. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more and why that is so important when addressing this issue?
Yes, a lot of times we have biases that we need to address that we don't even know that we have. And men also, they have moms, they have sisters, they have daughters, and they want those people, loved ones in their lives, to be treated equally. So they have to be a part of the solution. So it can't just be a group of women talking about it. It has to be a group of people, which include men and women, to talk about this issue so that way we can solve it together. And also traditionally men are in more positions of power. So if they aren't a part of that solution, then we can't solve the problem.
And Dom, speaking of that, you are in a position to address this, and this issue is a continuous process just in terms of how we go about addressing this. And several business leaders have spoken about this. Curious just to get your thoughts just on how you have addressed this as CEO of Venus Concepts.
Yeah, look, I think it's a really big issue, and I'm happy to say that it's evolving. I mean, obviously things don't happen overnight, but I think within our own organization, we have absolutely made sure that our team is equally paid for the types of roles that they're doing. A big part of our business is sales and marketing. So, it's pretty easy, it's pretty definitive to be able to see, performance versus not, male versus female. It doesn't really matter. So we're somewhat agnostic there. But we make a conscious effort to ensure that it's not just about salary, it's about, equity in company, it's about bonus plans. There's a whole variety of different ways that sort of, I'll call it income, is defined. And as a company, what we've done is made sure that we have really been hyper-focused on this, so that as an organization, and we are a global organization selling in over 65 countries, and we have 20 some odd direct offices with direct employees, it's a really important issue. And we feel that we're really well positioned from the beginning of the company to take this approach. And so we're confident that we're a leader in our space in terms of making sure that female equality isn't even a thing anymore. We shouldn't even have to be talking about it. But as with Venus doing what she's done, and I think she's a real champion for this cause, which really fits kind of, quite frankly, with our mantra and just how the company operates itself.
Another big issue that both of you, everyone has had to deal with over the past year, of course, has been the pandemic. Venus, to you first, just how has COVID challenged you, and not only as an athlete, but also as a business owner?
Yes, as an athlete, I think everyone has seen the challenges and everyone has felt it, whether they were an athlete or someone watching. For a while there wasn't any sport, and then there aren't any fans, and the Olympics was canceled or postponed. So we all felt that. And as an entrepreneur, of course, you're going out there into a world that has been unnavigated before. And of course, that's scary in itself. And as an entrepreneur and business owner, I also care about the people that I employ. So, of course, it's my first responsibility to make sure that they're okay. And you just have to reinvent yourself and hopefully be relevant.
And John, what changes have you had to make, and how have you adjusted to today's new reality that we're facing?
I can tell you personally, it's probably been one of the most difficult things we've had to do as an organization, mostly because we've had these peaks and valleys globally. So when Europe may be opening up, parts of the US are shut down, or APAC and Asia Pacific. So it's been sort of an up and down roller coaster ride. And I think for me, as the CEO of a company of over 400 employees, my single biggest responsibility is to sort of try to keep people balanced and sort of optimistic about there is going to be an end to this at some point, and we just need to fight through it, because the reality of it is what's your choices, right? You can sort of give up and not participate, or you just follow the protocols and you try to do the best you can in a very challenging environment. At the beginning of this, we had a bet in-house with a lot of our team about when this was going to end, and it was going to involve an amazing dinner and spa days and so on. And the worst case scenario, this is last March 2020, people were saying, by the end of June, by early July, we should be good. And we're a year later and we're still fighting through this. But, I have a real sense of optimism as I look at our company's performance and how we're sort of growing quarter over quarter. The doors are opening and people are starting to get back as close as possible to their normal routines. And I think that if anything, through this whole process, we've learned just how precious life is, quite frankly, and how you have to really sort of consider how you live your life each and every day. And I think this is one of the great things about Venus, and how we've been talking about what she's doing with her businesses and sort of where her head's at, and when it comes to family and to her entrepreneurship. And that's, for us, is very exciting to partner with her on this particular project, and hopefully a few more to come.
I mean, speaking of more to come, or what I should say is coming up very soon, we have Wimbledon. It's just a couple of months away. The Olympics are happening later this summer. With everything that's going on right now, are you confident that Wimbledon and the Olympics will be held successfully?
Well, earlier this year, the Australian Open was held. It's the first major of the year, and everything went right. And even if there were some moments where we had to pull back or not have fans for a few days, everything was done in the spirit of safety for everyone. So I think there was a great model that carried on with the French Open before Wimbledon. So I do feel confident that will happen. If it doesn't, I think the world showed that, you know, we can adjust.
And Venus, real quick, we only have about a minute left here, but how do you have time for all this? I mean, that's what's something that a lot of people who are watching this right now, professional tennis player, running multiple companies, have multiple brand partnerships. How do you do it?
All I know is I have to take out time for self-care. And that was part of the reason why I tried Venus Concept treatments, because I cared about me and I wanted to just maintain, you know, how I felt and looked about myself. So yeah, I think part of it is having self-care and taking those moments for yourself, so that way you can give your best. You don't take those moments, you go on the burning.
Venus Williams and Dom Serafino, thank you so much for giving us your time. We really appreciate you hopping on here with Yahoo Finance.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.